everybody, welcome back to the Banger Bar. I am Sarah, and today on Overkill Reviews, we're reviewing the brand new studio album by Mountains Crave. They are a post-black metal band. Their new album is called As We Were When We Were Not, and it's out today on Avant-Garde Music. Okay, so first some insight into Mountains Crave. The band formed in 2013 in Leeds, which is in the United Kingdom, and they released a self-titled EP the year later. That EP was critically acclaimed, and people have been waiting for a long time for this brand new record. The weird thing about this band is that if you check them out on Bandcamp, you'll be able to listen to their EP, which is beautiful, experimental, transcendental black metal. But you'll also hear a cover of a Darkthrone song that was part of a Darkthrone tribute record. And on that, Mountains Crave covered the song I en Hall med Flesk Oj Mod, which is from Transylvanian Hunger. And the cover is pretty damn faithful to the original, which seems kind of strange when you listen to their EP and to their new record. So to kick the record off, we've got this very hypnotic style of an intro, and you're hearing women chanting and croning. The song's called Yinstravision? I don't know, just listen to it. So, as the album descriptor says, this album is inspired by Aldous Huxley's 1962 lecture on visionary experience. The album explores themes such as spiritual enlightenment, death and the afterlife, and man's kinship and subsequent alienation from the universe. So expect a lot of this juxtaposition musically and emotionally, as well as these kind of strange recurrent segments where you're hearing elements that you don't often hear in black metal. So speaking to that juxtaposition, here's musical evidence of it. So this quick progression, which automatically goes from a beautiful progressive part into howling, screeching black metal, should really set up what this release sounds like and what you should be expecting. This is a band that is similar sonically to a band like Winterfylith, to a band like Ash Borer, and I would maybe call it transcendental black metal, but I don't really want to compare it to that awful thing that the guy from Liturgy put out, because I don't think it's necessarily the exact same thing, because I love to split hairs. That being said, this is the kind of black metal that'll get true black metal warriors underwear in a twist. So guys, speaking of true black metal, here's a vocalist that sounds like a frog, which if you listen to Inquisition, you know the frog style vocals are the best vocals. Kermit would approve of those frog vocals. Ribbit, ribbit. So on this fourth and final clip of the song, you're gonna get a very clear idea of where this band is transitioning from black metal to post-rock. To talk to the post-rock. I know that a lot of metal fans have a problem with post-black metal, and I get it. But I also really love instrumental rock. Instrumental rock as a genre is great. I think that there's a lot of really strong, good bands. I like Bogwa, I like Explosions in the Sky, I like Do Make Say Think, I like Godspeed You Black Emperor. I think all these bands are great, and I think that bands like Godspeed in particular have more of a political awareness in their music, and I think that Mountains Crave was going for a similar approach to what Godspeed would do. The reason why I'm talking so specifically about post-rock is because the beginning of Clear Light of the Void, which is the third track on the album, is a long sample, and I think you need to hear it.
Well, I mean that there are the colors and the beauties, the designs, the beautiful way things appear. People themselves, dull people, but I thought dull, appear fascinating, interesting, mysterious, wonderful. But that's only the beginning. A man was saying it this afternoon who was taking it. Suddenly you notice that there aren't these separations. that we're not on a separate island shouting across to somebody else and trying to hear what they're saying and misunderstanding. You know, you use the word yourself, empathy. These things flowing underneath. We're parts of a single continent. It meets underneath the water. And with that goes such delight, the sober certainty of waking bliss.
The reason why this clip is so fascinating to me is because the speaker is talking about a religious experience that he has while on acid. In the quote, he says, "But that is only the beginning. A man was saying it this afternoon that was taking it. Suddenly you notice that there aren't these separations, that we are not on a separate island shouting across and to somebody else and trying to hear what they are saying and misunderstanding. You know, you use the word yourself, empathy. There are things flowing underneath. We are parts of a single continent. It meets underneath the water, and with that goes such delight, the sober certainty of waking bliss." I find this interesting because Aldous Huxley was actually quite influential when it came to psychedelics. Him and several other authors did a lot of experimentation and wrote extensively on the subject, which obviously deeply impacted prog bands that were coming out in the 60s and 70s. And if you haven't noticed, I really like prog. So, Huxley is also important because he happened to write a book that all of you have probably read. That book is called Brave New World. Also happens to be the name of the Iron Maiden album. So, incidentally, Aldous Huxley is the reason that I got into heavy metal. So that's why I think this album's so interesting. I personally don't know if this band does psychedelics, but it sounds like they're freaking out. Freak out. I know a lot of transcendental black metal can be a bit airy-fairy, for lack of a more descriptive good term, but I like it when it's suffocatingly heavy and it's just relentless. And I think that Mountains Crave does that very well. So, I've gone off on 1,000 tangents in this review, and maybe you want to hear the band go off on a musical tangent. Would you like to hear what sounds like Ariel losing her voice to evil Queen Ursula? Under the sea, under the sea. I don't know, maybe a Disney princess reference is lost on you guys, but that's what it sounds like to me. Quite frankly, I'm kind of relieved that the band follows up this song with something heavier, which is track 6, and it's called Theopathy. So later on in the song, we're treated to harmonizing vocals, and you get screaming with clean singing underneath, and it works really well for Mountains Crave. So there it is, folks. This album is a recommended if you like Ash Borer, Solstafir, if I'm saying it correctly, I apologize if I'm not. Urafaust, it's transcendental black metal, essentially. What Mountains Crave is doing is merging psychedelic music with post-black metal and black metal. You're hearing a lot of different elements, and although the press release does link this to Wolves in the Throne Room, I don't necessarily think it's in the exact same realm, although if you like Wolves in the Throne Room, or if you like bands that are from the Cascadian region, you'll probably like this too. So, all this being said, I have more of an emotional and intellectual connection with this band than I do a musical one. I'm not a huge fan of this style of black metal, but that being said, Mountains Crave does a very good job of this style of black metal. Myself, I prefer when bands go full on fucking weird. I want stuff that sounds like Oranasi Pazuzu, who is an amazing Finnish black metal band that does experimental metal. I want to listen to Greece's Locust Leaves, who are probably one of the most interesting bands to release something this year. Or I want to listen to Blood Incantation, who is an amazing experimental death metal band. But that's okay. We're not talking about how I feel, we're talking about how good that record is. So we'll discuss that all in the verdict. So I know that this review has been a little bit disjointed, but this album is not disjointed at all. Mountains Crave has put together a record that is metaphorically, visually, and sonically incredibly cohesive. It's a very strong offering from a relatively new band, and I think it was definitely worth the wait. If you're into transcendental post-black metal, you're probably gonna love this. So, for all those reasons, I'm giving this album 4 out of 5 skulls here on Overkill Reviews.